The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits plunged last week to the lowest level in 52 years. More evidence that the U.S. job market is recovering from last year's coronavirus recession.
That's some good news here. According to the Labor Department, unemployment claims dropped by 43,000 to 184,000 last week, the lowest since September of 1969. Could be seeing a rebound here of our economy nationally. Today we're joined by Senior Economic Analyst Mark Hamrick from BANKRATE. Mark, thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you, Ben and Amanda.
So that's a huge statement to see that come across since 1969, the lowest amount of jobless claims. What's leading to less people applying for this unemployment?
Well, we don't want to see fresh job loss, and we had a large dose of that in March and April of last year, and we lost 22 million jobs in just 2 months. So this number being low is what we want to see. I didn't know that we'd be getting back down to this level here at this point in the recovery, but that's welcome. And of course, last week we heard the nation's unemployment rate, another measure where we stand, fell to 4.2%. Again, that's the U.S. number. And the number before the pandemic went as low as 3.5%. So all these numbers speak to the healing of the U.S. economy.
Now, is this saying that, this is good news for the job market, that we're going to start seeing a little recovery, or are we seeing, fewer jobless claims because people maybe have run out of their unemployment benefits from when they were originally laid off or out of work during the pandemic?
It's a good question to ask, but the reality is that the economic recovery has been, in even Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's words, quite strong here in the second half of the year. It was dealt a setback by the Delta variant. We're hoping that this latest COVID-19 variant does not do the same, and some of the early signals from the science indicate that perhaps we'll get through this part. And really the solution for the economy is putting the pandemic behind us. So right now we have, as of last count, 11 million job openings in the United States. That is by a difference of 4 million higher than the number of officially unemployed. But we know there are millions of others who are working part-time, would like to have full-time work, the so-called underemployed, and millions of others who've left the labor force. There's room for those people to come back into the labor force if they want to find work.
So, Mark, I just want to add on to that I guess as a caveat, if they want to find work, that 11 million figure is still massive. You go around Main Street and you see we're hiring, job openings, short-staffed, signs all over the place. What's going to lead to those people coming back to the workforce? Is it just we have to get through the pandemic, or do employers need to adjust in order to retain some work and get new work?
Well, employers are adjusting. They're paying more in wages, for example. They're making adjustments with respect to the opportunity to work remote where that works or is appropriate. You have businesses in the leisure and hospitality space, such as bars and restaurants, adjusting the hours they're open just to fit the available workers that they have. And I think that this is all part of the unprecedented reopening of the economy after the unprecedented closing of it. Turns out it's actually easier to close the economy than to open it back up. But I think over the next year, we'll get a matching of supply and demand, both with respect to the goods, a lot of demand for goods, not as much supply. That's seen everywhere as well. And I think we'll get a better matching of the supply of workers with the availability of work. It's going to take some time.
Mark Hamrick from BANKRATE, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. More